really fascinating deep dive into the power of self-belief using the book Believe in Yourself.
Oh, yeah. I love this book.
Yeah, it's got like all these practical strategies and steps you can actually take
Mhm.
to build your confidence and unlock your potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, how can you harness this power of self-belief to achieve your goals? That's what we're going to be looking at today.
Yeah.
We've got some fascinating insights
Yeah.
from the book. Like, I can't wait to share.
I think what's so cool about this book is that it doesn't present self-belief as, like this thing you're born with or you're not. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
It really frames it as a skill, something you can work on, you can develop.
Oh, that's so encouraging.
It is. It's empowering
Yeah.
because it means no matter where you're starting from, you have the power to shift your self-belief and make change happen.
Yeah. And the book really dives into why this is so important. It points out that self-belief is really the foundation for pretty much everything.
Mhm.
Like, if you don't believe in yourself, it's going to be a lot harder to take risks, go after the things you want, those
Yeah.
big dreams,
Mhm.
or even just deal with those everyday challenges that life throws at you.
Yeah, totally. It's like you're trying to build a house, but the ground is all shaky underneath. You need that strong foundation of self-belief to create something solid and lasting.
Yes. Yes.
And this book gives you the tools to build that foundation.
Yeah.
And it acknowledges something super important, which is that everyone, like literally everyone, experiences self-doubt sometimes. I mean, it's just part of being human, right?
That's such a relief to hear.
Yeah,
I'm sure everyone listening right now has had those moments, like me.
absolutely.
But the book, it doesn't just leave us hanging with those doubts. It gives us tools.
Right.
3 practical strategies, actually, for tackling those negative thoughts and building up our self-belief.
Okay, I like it.
So the first one is all about facing those negative thoughts, like head on. So instead of letting those "I can't do this" thoughts take over, we can actually try to like change the script.
Yeah.
The book suggests replacing that with something more positive, like, "I'm going to give this my best shot." What do you think about that?
I think that's a really great approach, and it's actually very similar to what they teach in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the basic idea is that our thoughts affect our feelings and our actions, right?
Okay,
So if we can change those negative thought patterns, we can actually start to change our whole experience.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so instead of getting stuck in that "I can't" mindset, you're putting the focus on the effort and the possibility of learning.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
It's like reframing the challenge into an opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so the second strategy the book talks about is focusing on your strengths.
Oh, I love that.
I love this one because it's so positive.
Mm-hmm.
Why waste time worrying about what we're not good at
Mm-hmm.
when we can spend time celebrating the things we're awesome at, right?
Absolutely. It's about recognizing and appreciating your own unique abilities. And when you focus on your strengths, you naturally start to feel more capable and confident. And it's like it shifts your energy. You go from thinking about your limits to thinking about what's possible.
I love that.
That's essential for self-belief. Have you found that to be true in your own life? Do you feel more confident when you're doing things that play to your strengths?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I'm working on projects that align with my skills and things I'm passionate about,
Mhm.
I feel way more energized and enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And that definitely leads to more self-belief and like a willingness to try new things.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the third strategy the book recommends is taking small steps.
Oh, this is huge.
I think this is really key because I don't know about you, but sometimes I have these big goals
Mhm.
and they can feel so overwhelming. But if you break them down into smaller steps, it just feels so much more doable.
Right. It's about making progress feel achievable.
Mhm.
So you're not focusing on this huge mountain in front of you. You're just thinking about that first step and then the next one.
Right.
And every step, even if it's tiny, strengthens your belief that you can reach that goal.
Totally.
You know that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step?
Oh, yeah?
It's like that.
Yeah, it's so true.
And, as you start taking those steps, it's good to remember that you don't have to do it all alone.
Oh, for sure.
The book really emphasizes having a good support system.
Yeah.
Those people who, believe in you and
Mhm.
encourage you along the way,
Yeah.
having that can make a huge difference, especially, when those doubts start creeping in.
Oh, yeah. I think that's so important. Like having those cheerleaders in your corner to boost your confidence and help you stay motivated,
Absolutely.
especially when things get rough.
Yeah.
But, on the flip side, the book also talks about being aware of relationships that might be holding you back.
Oh, right.
Like toxic relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kind that make you question your worth or leave you feeling drained.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how would you define a toxic relationship?
Oh, that's a great question.
What are some red flags people should watch out for?
Well, toxic relationships can look different in different situations.
Yeah.
But usually there's like an imbalance of power where
Okay.
one person is always putting the other down or being disrespectful.
Right.
Some things to look out for are, you know, constant criticism, negativity,
Mhm.
lack of support,
Yeah.
feeling like you're walking on eggshells all the time.
Yeah,
It can be tough to see these patterns when you're in the middle of it,
for sure.
but paying attention to how you feel after you spend time with someone can be really helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you feel energized or do you feel drained?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's not always easy to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Especially with people we care about.
Right.
But it is so important for our well-being.
Totally.
And sometimes letting go of those toxic relationships can be like the most empowering act of self-care.
It really can.
And, the book also talks about self-compassion,
Oh, yeah.
which I think fits in really well with this idea of protecting our energy and well-being.
Yeah, for sure.
It encourages us to be kind to ourselves, especially when we make mistakes or face setbacks.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think self-compassion is so important for building self-belief.
Yeah.
It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would a close friend.
Uh-huh.
We all mess up sometimes, right? It's how we pick ourselves up and keep going that matters.
Totally.
So instead of beating yourself up for making a mistake,
Right.
try to see it as a chance to learn and grow.
Yeah, like a learning opportunity.
I-
That's such a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
And it makes me think of something else the book talks about.
Okay.
Celebrating our successes.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like we often get so caught up in striving for the next big thing that we forget to stop and acknowledge how far we've already come.
It's so true. We don't celebrate our wins enough.
Yeah.
No matter how big or small.
Yeah.
And that's so important for building self-belief and keeping that motivation going.
Yeah.
It could be something small, like just taking a minute to think about what you've accomplished
Yeah.
or sharing your excitement with a friend.
Yeah.
It's like acknowledging those achievements helps to solidify that belief in yourself.
Totally.
Think about it. What's one small win you've had recently that you could celebrate?
I loved it. I'm definitely going to try to be more intentional about celebrating those little victories
Yeah.
because they really do add up
They do.
and, contribute to that overall feeling of confidence. Okay, so now I want to talk about something that I know can be a big obstacle for a lot of people,
Yeah.
myself included.
Yeah.
Comparison.
Ugh. Yes.
The book has some really great advice on how to break free from comparing ourselves to others
Mm-hmm.
and how to embrace our own unique path.
Yeah.
What really stood out to you from that section?
Well, that saying comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, yeah,
It's so true.
it is.
It's so easy to get caught in that trap of looking at everyone else's highlight reel
Right.
and feeling like you're not good enough.
Totally.
But the book reminds us that everyone is on their own journey
Yeah.
with their own unique strengths, challenges, and experiences. And, focusing on what makes you special, those qualities that set you apart,
Yeah.
that's the key to building real self-belief.
It's about recognizing that your journey is valuable no matter how it compares to someone else's.
Exactly.
The book encourages us to identify those strengths and talents that make us us.
Yes.
It's about owning those qualities and letting them shine.
I love that.
Have you found any strategies that help you get out of that comparison mindset?
One thing that's really helped me is focusing on gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
When I catch myself comparing myself to others, I try to shift my attention to all the good things in my life,
Okay.
the things I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
It helps me to see things differently and to appreciate all the good that's already there.
Right.
It reminds me that my worth isn't about measuring up to someone else's standards.
That's such a good point.
Uh-huh.
Gratitude is so powerful for finding contentment and shifting our focus to the positive.
It really is.
And speaking of positive, let's talk about mindset.
Okay.
The book really emphasizes the connection between a positive mindset and strong self-belief.
Yeah.
I mean, our thoughts really do shape our reality, don't they?
They absolutely do. The way we think about ourselves and the world around us has a huge impact on our experiences.
Yeah.
The book talks about how important it is to cultivate a positive mindset by being mindful of the thoughts we allow to take root. If we're constantly feeding ourselves negative self-talk, it's going to be a lot harder to believe in ourselves.
Right.
But if we can intentionally focus on more positive and supportive thoughts, it creates a much better environment for self-belief to grow.
It's like creating a mental garden,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
nurturing those positive thoughts and weeding out the negative
Right,
ones.
exactly.
And like you mentioned earlier, one way to nurture those positive thoughts is through practicing gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Another suggestion the book gives is surrounding yourself with positivity.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Whether it's spending time with supportive people, reading inspiring books,
Mm-hmm.
or even just curating your social media feed,
Right.
creating that positive environment can make a big difference.
It really can. It's about being intentional with the information and energy you let into your mental space.
Yeah.
Just like you choose healthy foods to nourish your body.
Uh-huh.
You want to choose content that nourishes your mind and spirit.
That's such a great analogy.
Uh,
And speaking of nourishing our spirits, I want to talk about something that can be kind of scary.
what's that?
Fear.
Oh, yeah.
The book doesn't shy away from this topic at all.
No, it doesn't.
What are your thoughts on how it approaches fear?
Well, what I like is that it doesn't tell you to just ignore your fears
Yeah.
or pretend they're not there.
Right.
Instead, it encourages you to acknowledge them, understand them,
Okay.
and even use them to your advantage.
Interesting.
It suggests that fear often comes from the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
and that by bringing those fears out into the open, we can start to take away their power.
That makes sense. Sometimes just naming those fears can make them feel less intimidating, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The book even suggests writing them down,
Oh, yeah.
getting them out of our heads and onto paper.
Yeah.
It seems like that could be a really helpful exercise for anyone who's feeling stuck or paralyzed by fear.
I think it's a great idea. It's about facing those fears head on instead of letting them control you.
So what happens after you've identified those fears?
Well, then you can start to analyze them.
Okay.
Are they based on facts
Uh-huh.
or just assumptions?
Right.
What steps can you take to prepare
Yeah.
and maybe even reduce those risks?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes just thinking through those fears logically can help to lessen their grip.
That's a really good point. It's about taking back control and empowering yourself with knowledge and action.
Exactly.
The book actually takes it a step further
Mm-hmm.
and suggests something pretty bold,
Oh, wow.
using fear as motivation. So if you're afraid to do something, you can channel that energy into preparation and hard work.
Interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a really powerful concept.
Mhm.
Fear can be a really strong motivator
Yeah.
if we learn how to use it effectively.
Right.
You ever notice that when you're facing a deadline
Mm-hmm.
or a challenge,
Yeah.
you tend to focus more and work harder?
Definitely.
Like that sense of urgency pushes us to take action and step outside our comfort zones.
I think that's so true.
I definitely feel that it's like fear can light a fire under us
Yeah.
and give us that extra boost of energy and determination.
For sure.
But of course, it's all about finding that balance, right?
Right.
Not letting fear paralyze us,
Yeah.
but using it to help us grow.
Exactly. It's about understanding that fear is a normal human emotion.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to control us.
No.
We have the power to choose how we respond to it. And
Yeah.
sometimes the bravest thing we can do is just take that first step,
Right.
even when we're scared.
That's such an empowering message.
It is.
And it reminds me of another important takeaway from the book.
Okay.
Success rarely happens overnight.
Oh, that's for sure.
It takes persistence and resilience to achieve our goals,
Yeah,
especially when we face challenges and setbacks along the way.
you got it.
This book doesn't sugarcoat things.
Right.
It acknowledges that there will be bumps in the road,
Mm-hmm.
moments of doubt,
Right.
times when you might feel like giving up.
Yeah.
But it also reminds us that those setbacks aren't failures.
Yeah.
They're just part of the process.
Absolutely.
It's how we respond to those challenges that really matters. It's about having that grit and determination to keep going, even when things get tough.
Right.
The book really emphasizes the importance of remembering your why,
Oh, yes.
that reason that motivated you to start this journey in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that deep-seated reason.
Having that strong why can be such a powerful anchor, especially when you're facing those inevitable challenges.
Yeah.
It helps you to stay grounded, focused, and motivated, even when those doubts start creeping in.
It's like having a North Star guiding you,
Uh-huh.
helping you stay on course, even when things get rough.
Yeah. I like that.
Speaking of staying on course, the book talks about the importance of setting SMART goals.
Oh, yeah.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Right, right.
I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that framework? Do you find it helpful for setting and achieving goals?
I think the SMART goal framework can be a really great tool,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to taking those big dreams and aspirations and
Hmm.
turning them into concrete action steps.
All right.
It gives you structure and clarity,
Right.
which can make the whole process feel less overwhelming and more manageable.
That makes sense. It's like having a roadmap for success,
Yeah.
breaking down those big goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly.
And I really like that it emphasizes the relevant aspect,
Oh, yeah.
making sure those goals align with your values and what truly matters to you.
Right.
That's where the real motivation comes from, right?
Absolutely. When your goals are aligned with your passions and your purpose,
Yeah.
it fuels that inner drive and makes the whole journey so much more fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's not just about checking something off a list. It's
Yeah.
about pursuing something that truly lights you up.
I love that it's about aligning your actions with your heart and soul.
Exactly.
And I think that alignment is key for cultivating that unshakable self-belief
Yeah.
that can help us overcome any challenge.
It's about recognizing that you're worthy of pursuing those dreams,
Yeah.
that your voice deserves to be heard, and that you make a difference.
Yes. I love that. Okay, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier,
Okay.
the power of action.
Right.
This book really drives home the point that believing in yourself is only part of the equation.
Yeah.
You got to actually do something, right?
You got to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Exactly.
Action is what connects belief to reality.
Totally.
It's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
The book encourages us to start small,
Uh-huh.
take those first steps, even if they seem tiny,
Right.
and build momentum from there.
And as we start taking those steps and gaining momentum,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to be okay with the possibility of setbacks.
Oh, for sure.
The book has a really interesting perspective on failure.
Yeah.
It sees it not as a reflection of our worth, but as a chance to learn and grow.
That's a really important mindset shift. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, we can choose to see it as a detour,
Right.
a chance to adjust our course and gain valuable lessons along the way.
It's about embracing that growth mindset. you know,
Yes.
recognizing that we're always learning and evolving.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a perfect lead-in to our last topic for today,
Okay. What's that?
celebrating our successes.
Oh, yeah, we touched on this before.
We did, but I want to go a little deeper into why it's so important for building self-belief.
Okay.
Celebrating those successes, no matter how big or small, is like giving ourselves a pat on the back for a job well done.
Yeah.
It reinforces those positive feelings of accomplishment
Uh-huh.
and reminds us that we're capable of achieving great things.
It's like planting those seeds of confidence and watching them grow.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy.
No.
It could be as simple as taking a moment to acknowledge your progress,
Yeah.
treating yourself to something special,
Right.
or sharing your win with someone who supports you.
It's about recognizing and honoring those moments of victory.
Yeah.
Letting yourself feel proud of what you've accomplished.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Believe in Yourself, I want to invite you, the listener, to think about one small win you've experienced recently that you could celebrate.
Yeah.
What have you accomplished that deserves a moment of recognition?
Take a moment to acknowledge that success and let that feeling of pride fuel your future endeavors.
Yeah, it really is amazing how powerful those little wins can be,
Yeah.
to boost our self-belief and keep us moving forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we wrap up this deep dive into Believe in Yourself,
Mm-hmm.
I want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question.
Okay. I like it.
It's from the book. And it asks, if you truly believed in yourself, like without a doubt, what's the one goal you would go after? Like no hesitation.
That is a powerful question. What dream have you been putting off? What's that one thing you've always wanted to do but maybe talked yourself out of?
Yeah, it's so easy to let those doubts and fears hold us back from going after those really big, audacious goals.
Right.
But just imagine what we could accomplish if we really believed in ourselves.
Yeah.
This deep dive has given us so much to think about when it comes to unlocking the power of self-belief, right?
It really has.
And remember, it's not something we're born with. It's a skill we can develop through practice, mindset shifts, and taking action.
Absolutely.
So as you continue exploring the ideas from Believe in Yourself, remember that you are capable of incredible things.
Yes, you are.
Believe in your potential, take action, and don't give up on your dreams.
I love it. It's been a pleasure diving into this topic with you today.
Likewise. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of self-belief. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself.